Good day, everyone, and welcome to
Mom and Son Podcast.
So this is your weekly dose of mother and son takes on family, finance, passions, and everything in between.
This is Rose Fres Fausto, the mom, also known as the FQ mom.
And this is Anton Fausto, the son, also known as Anton. Okay, so we want to thank you guys again for all your comments, all your feedback on our first two episodes. We're here on our third episode. That's
and
right.
we should tell them that we are now available not just on Spotify,
Buzzsprout and SoundCloud. They're also available on
Apple, iTunes.
on iTunes. That's right. Okay, so more ways now to listen to this weekly show. Okay, so this week we'll be talking about extracurricular activities. Okay, and the reason why I want to talk about this because we can have the two perspectives. There's always the parents' perspective and the child's perspective. There's one side, the ones who sort of instill, or they're the ones who choose that, okay, I'll make my child go through this sport or this activity. But at the same time, there's also another side, which is the child himself or herself on what you think of going through these activities that your parents put you through. Do you feel forced? Do you really enjoy it? So we'll go into that for our episode today. Okay, so the first one, and I want to ask you, Mama, why did you make us attend extracurricular activities? Why these specific activities, and why would you put us through them?
Okay, well, really, the basic answer to that is my understanding that the development of a child needs a lot more than the academics, which are offered and given a lot of importance in traditional schools, which you went to. And I remember that in preschool, it was learning through play.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the reason why the innate love for learning in children is easy. I mean, it's easy for it to come out. But when you go to traditional schools, that's when the challenge comes in.
That's right.
The standards are really focused on the academics. There's really no grade for PE.
Yeah. That's something I don't really like. Going to Ateneo at least for our grades in college, although it's a required subject and there are units for PE, it doesn't matter whether or not you get an A or a C.
Yes,
as
it
long as you
doesn't add
pass.
to the average as long as you pass. But you know what? There was a time in Xavier, I think for just a couple of years, when they added the grade in PE, and it formed part, yes, but it was just for a short while. I don't know what happened. It formed part of the average.
Oh.
Diba?
Actually, I prefer that because, PE is a physical intelligence.
Yes.
So it's not just all. Yeah. So anyway, with the first point, we want to make it clear that we're talking about extracurricular activities being important, but at the same time, we acknowledge that probably your most important job would be your work in the classroom, your academic responsibilities. That even if you have these extracurricular activities, you still focus on these.
Yes.
Okay, and so going into that, I remember growing up, we'd go through taekwondo, we had
That's right.
piano lessons, swimming. How did you choose on what specific activities?
I think the taekwondo, we mentioned that in the first episode, it was born out of that thinking that I wanted your two older brothers to be able to protect themselves, to have the self-confidence to protect themselves, because they were both very, very skinny, And of course, the discipline is also there. And the piano, Papa knows how to play the piano, so that actually came from him. And what's the other one that you mentioned?
Swimming.
Swimming, because it's a survival.
It's like a basic. Okay.
Yeah, it's a survival skill.
And there's something I realized now lang that I got older. Although I'm hopefully I'm nowhere near of being a parent or having a child to
I hope. I certainly hope
to
so.
put through extracurricular activities. But I only realize now that there is also importance in putting your child through different kinds of activities, because you wouldn't. It's normal not to get it on the first try. I don't play piano. I never swam competitively. Taekwondo, karate, I've never used it. Thankfully, I've never used it in my life. But I feel
You
like
never had to
I
use
never
it.
had to, because I feel like it's important, because you know, we mentioned a while ago that it's one thing to be good in the classroom, but there are so many people, there's so many kids especially, who have these great talents in other aspects that they wouldn't have ever found out
Discovered,
discovered,
yes.
yeah, if they didn't try out for those different
Extracurricular
activities.
activities. Yeah. So, what was your favorite extracurricular
Well,
activity?
my favorite obviously would be dancing, but just in grade
Yes.
school. And well, that's the thing I enjoyed about. I don't know if it's a 100% good thing. Was that, well, growing up, we were never forced to, really pursue any of these extracurricular activities. I have friends who were they had to they were put in swimming. They don't even really like it, but then because the mom really forces them to. I
Yeah.
don't know if it. I feel like it's a mix of luck that I found dancing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was always supported. Um,
Oh
if I
yeah, you
wanted to
tell
take if
them
I wanted to take
about
a
your grade school
That's
experience.
right.
Yeah, so your two older brothers were already in the dance teams of
Oh,
their high
Savior. They were
school.
in Dance X.
Dance
And
X.
just like any
Woo!
bunso, idol na idol ko si Kuya. So I would really just do whatever they do. I'd listen to the music they listen to.
Yeah.
I'd wear the Porma
The
in
hip
fashion.
hop.
The loose colored shirt and
Yeah.
baggy jeans. I thought that
Yeah.
was cool. And so they
Fashion.
started dancing, and I thought, I mean, I want to try this dancing thing. I've always sort of had this knack for performing, or being in front of an audience and doing something.
What grade were you in? 5?
It started in grade 5. We
Yes.
had a church, one of our titas, Tita Lulu,
Yes. Hello,
asked
Tita Lulu. I hope you're listening.
asked us to join this. It's for Easter for the church community.
Uh huh.
So she wanted the youth group
To be
to.
involved in the
Yeah, yeah.
celebration of
And Enrique
Easter.
and my brother and I weren't part of the youth group yet, but they thought, why don't you join? You'll be taught by one of our neighbors who's part of the Philippine All Stars before. One of the.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's how
yeah.
it started. Yeah, yeah. It's
That's it.
good that you refresh my memory with that.
So yeah, so we had one summer. We'd go to Brewing
Brewing
Point. Yeah,
Point.
it's a dance studio near us where we learned how to dance. And we had a dance. We performed for the Easter celebration of the church. And since I was the bunso,
Bunso
yeah,
in
I
the
was the
group.
kid. Siyempre, they give me some highlights. They play
Yeah.
around with me since I'm the bunso. And I don't know. I feel like that's where it really started. Na
You enjoyed it
I enjoyed it,
tremendously.
not just performing. I enjoyed meeting people. You really get to meet people with these extracurricular activities, and I really did. Lots of my closest friends I met because of dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I fell in love with it. Not just the performing, but the training, learning new dances,
Yes.
practicing it again and again, even if it's the same 4 minutes, and you just keep doing it for hours, for like
Mm-hmm.
an entire month. I really fell in love with it, and that sort of helped me. It brings me to my next point
Yeah,
on
and
why.
sige, it got you so bitin, di ba? That you didn't
Yeah.
have a team yet in grade
Mm.
school. So what did you do?
Yeah. So back in grade school, we had a dance club. You can join a club every. So you're gonna go to this club every Thursday. There's different. I joined photography, guitar.
Etc.
Yeah, and then I joined a dance club. But this dance club, it was just a once a week thing. And then
Okay.
our coach got pregnant and
Oh,
had to
yeah.
switch coaches. So there's never any continuity. So
Yes.
I thought, I have a bunch of batchmates, one of my best friends. We all dance. Why don't we just make our own?
Oh, and
Or make
that's
our own.
when
I made Influx. So
Influx was
I saw it on the
born. Dun dun
thesaurus.
dun.
Yeah, so I got us on.
What do you mean you saw it in the thesaurus?
I was going through that for like, what can I name our dance
All
group?
right,
So
all
let's
right.
dance. And Influx kasi has the letter X. Usually yun yung parang cool. Kung may weird letters ka sa
Di naman weird, just
unusual.
unusually
Kaya may
used.
Dance X or Quest Crew na may Q.
Okay,
Mga ganun.
X-Men.
Yeah. Anyway, so in grade 5,
Influx.
yeah, I really feel like this was one of my parang defining moments in my childhood that I really got I discovered my identity. Kasi,
And your leadership probably, ano?
yeah, it played a huge role because, again, it's really tough being in a traditional school with 40 students in a class and more than 10
Yes.
sections in each batch. And you wanna fit in, but at the same time stand out. And these extracurricular activities for me are the simplest yet most effective ways to have that, to fit in yet stand out. Because
Oh, I like
because of
that. To
dancing, I was
fit
able
in.
to fit in. I found lots of
Yes.
people who
I
love
like that,
dancing.
Antona. Can you say that again? Kasi kids these days, di ba, they really want to fit in. But at the same time, they also want to unleash the what? The Chris Aquino.
The Chris Chu. The Chris Chu na lang.
Chris Stew na lang. Really to stand out, to really make full use of God's gifts.
Yeah, well, I feel like
so that's the
a
Chris
Chu.
Stew way.
He was part of a team.
Yes.
He was an Atenean like everybody else in his school, obviously. But he was, he was
He was a
Chris Chu.
star. He was a star basketball player who
Star
did
student.
so well academically.
Won championships also. Anyway,
And still very
back to
humble.
my point. I feel like it's really important. Extracurricular activities are important. Again, because you get to fit in but stand out. Fitting in, I got to meet my closest friends. So I had a group
Yeah.
that I was comfortable with.
Yes.
At the same time, stand out because I really owned it when people would think of it or call me na, oh, si Fausto, si Anton, yung sumasayaw. I really loved it because
So
even
you got
teachers
that
knew
label, yes.
that during break times, we would eat our baons for 5-10 minutes and spend the next 20 minutes practicing our breakdance moves. Actually, I'm sad because now in grade school, apparently, I think you're not allowed to breakdance anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like
in Ateneo?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
like some.
what happened?
So I feel like some people got injured or.
Oh my God, I remember a mom of your classmate
Oh yeah.
gave me this frantic call on the cell phone. She said, Rose, my son, we're now in the orthopedic hospital. And I remember it was your son, Anton, who influenced my son.
Okay, I remember this story. I won't say na lang who. I know who this is, but the story of why he got injured was he was outside his classroom in the hallway, which is
Yes.
very.
The usual.
You don't practice that breakdance moves in the hallway
okay.
because there's people passing by. He
so that's what
tried practicing a
happened.
cartwheel and there was someone, so umigag siya. And
Ah.
then he fell and broke his collarbone or something.
Oh my God. So,
Okay,
but he's
it's
okay
great.
now.
Yeah, he's okay
and,
now.
and a great dancer as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that-
He's competed abroad. So anyway,
All right.
so yun. So you really get to discover your identity, and really helps with the self-confidence. So this is related to our first episode of bullying.
Oh, that's right.
I feel like it was a big part that since I knew na that was my thing eh.
Mm-hmm.
Magaling akong sumayaw. I was the guy who put in so much time in dancing palagi. I really loved it. Na this is my thing. Even if it's not directly related that I won't get bullied because I'm a dancer. It was more of I'm a dancer. I know
Who
I
you
have these
are,
strengths. Yeah, I
yes.
wasn't getting first honors. I wasn't a bad student.
You were getting honors,
I was getting
but
honors,
not
but it wasn't
first.
it wasn't first honors. I wasn't getting, like straight A's or anything. But then
There was something you were great at.
yeah, there's something I believe I was great at. And at the same time, I'm lucky that I didn't, super use it as an excuse because it can also be like, magaling ako sumayaw, so I'm good at dancing, so I don't need to study.
Uh-huh.
But it's still an important thing, which will bring me to my next point on the communication between a parent and a child, how it's so important, how it's really important to support them through these outside classroom activities. But you should still put in the importance on, Guma, can you explain now why, what is your parang key to, for the three of us, that we have our extracurriculars,
Yes.
but students pa rin kami, students
Yes.
first.
And and I think I also want to tell the parents out there that it's not really easy. I mean, I've mentioned earlier na yes, I know that it's not just academics, etc., etc. But when you're a parent who sees the report cards that only talks about the academics, it's also very hard for you to really be that all-out supportive. You really just have to sit back, take a look at the larger picture in order to see that the development has to be all around, not
Yeah.
just on the academics. So, I confess, it was also hard, especially if I knew what your capacity was to learn as a student, because to get good grades as an academic student, because I was your tutor, di ba? Until grade 1.
Yeah.
So, parents, mahirap talaga yon. It's really hard to see grades that are not, that are falling.
Yeah.
And you would always easily attribute it, because you're always doing the la. But what's important is that we should understand that our children are differently wired, differently gifted, and we should not put to waste any of those gifts, like dancing or what have you, that are not easily measured in
Yeah,
traditional
in the report cards.
schools.
And I
Diba?
feel something I want to add is you're talking about how you can't see the results of these extracurricular activities in the report cards,
Yes.
which is why I believe it's really, really important that parents support their kids by showing up to their
Ayun.
competitions, showing up to
Yun.
their performances. Because, it's one thing to really just to listen to the stories and then
Yes.
your son can come home and say that, oh, I really enjoy dancing.
I won this
Yeah, yeah. This my
competition.
from my personal experience. I won this competition. I made these friends, but it's never going to be equal to the understanding you can have if you go to their
And
competitions. You see
experience.
them perform on stage. You see that. Well, kasi for me, it was really something else to perform on stage. You become someone else. It's not the same
Yeah.
person who just goes to class. You're a performer while you're
Mm-mm.
there. And especially bonus na rin if you win. Siyempre, the
Yes.
parents are gonna be super proud kasi ano naman, at least even if I pay for their costumes, the coach, the training, at least nananalo rin naman. Even if it's,
Oh.
you don't do it. Obviously, as a student, you never perform and compete for the money or the glory. You do it because you love it. And it was such a huge thing to me. I feel strongly about this because I have many teammates na I feel
Uh-huh.
like sobrang sayang that they could have been better dancers. They could have done it more if they were on the same page with the parents. And it's two
Wow. That's
ways.
very
You
important.
talked about a while ago na you have to. It's hard thing to balance
Yes.
the grades and the
The
example the
extracurricular.
dancing.
Mm-mm.
So
Because you put
for
in a lot of hours, until
yeah,
late night. My
you put in,
gosh.
yeah, and then you put the hours that you put in dancing are more evident because if you come home at 9 p.m. because you're training compared to coming home at like 5 p.m. because you're
Yes.
dancing. Although even that's just like 4 hours dagdag, it eats up into the studying time, you can say, or the
Yes.
resting time
Yes.
for the next school day.
Uh-oh.
Yun. So it's two things. Na one, for the students, you have to put up your end of the bargain na
Hmm.
you still perform well in the classroom. But for the parents naman, na you have to give them some parang elbow room. Kasi
Yes.
there are some times where some sems or quarters where it's harder talaga or the grades, if it's competition season, syempre medyo magdidip yung grades kasi
Uh-huh.
pagod ka talaga
Yes.
unless you're Luigi Bagos. I have a friend, a teammate who was getting first honors every time it was the competition season
Yeah.
of the year.
Okay, so tell them about the Papa story. So, of course, you should give the background, no? The Papa and I knew naman your academic capability. You were a good student. You're bright academically. You were in the semi-honors class in high school, di ba? But then in college, we were not happy. There was a time that we were not happy with your
Yeah.
grades. And of course, we will say this again with that premise. No, we knew that you could have done better because of past history. So what did Papa do? What did Papa
Okay,
tell
he gave
you?
me a deal that, okay, first sem, I didn't get Dean's List. I got pretty low. Okay, second
Okay.
sem, you have to get Dean's List. Or else, you're out of CADS. You're not gonna
Yeah.
dance.
Dun,
CADS
dun,
is
dun,
ano
dun,
pala,
dun.
Company of Ateneo Dances. It's the dancing
Ah.
organ Ateneo, which I joined kaagad from the first sem
Yeah.
of my college life pa lang.
And if I may tell you now, I was scared of that ultimatum because I knew that dancing is life for you. So
Yeah.
I thought, what if he doesn't make it? So you were gonna suck
Yeah.
out the life out of your college life.
Buti we didn't have to deal with it right when that
But
told me.
then, tada,
But
what
then
happened?
I got one of my highest sems in college ever.
Ever.
No,
So,
okay, it was not, it wasn't tawag dun, it was a mix of things because since I already had that in the back of my head that I have to get high grades, you become smart with the decisions you make. It's not just a pure,
Yes.
oh, okay, I have to get high. I'm just gonna study hard. Kasi especially in college, I learned this. You have to act smart. So, syempre from enlisting pa lang, you
choose the
you
teacher.
make sure, yeah, you choose a teach na, okay, kaya naman to get higher grades here. And you choose a schedule na,
Yeah.
even if I have training, I'm still gonna have enough time to sleep. Kasi there are times that people would
Sleep
take the
is
7
actually-
a.m. classes, 8 a.m. classes. But then, that's all also in line with getting high grades if you have a good schedule. So yun, I did all those. I still kept dancing. And with the right mix of hard work and some luck, I got the highest SEM I've
I've
had
ever
for a long... Hindi naman, but then one of the highest
yeah.
SEMs
So ano ba
I've
yan?
had
So
in...
is the moral of the story threaten your kids?
It's a risk. It's a risk that
It
you
was
have
a
to...
risk that we had to take, and it worked hard. It worked well, but we have to be careful. So
Yeah, you don't do it
syempre,
every time.
You don't do it every time. At saka kung alam mo naman your child will not really be able to make it, kahit
you
pagbalik ta
adjust.
rin ng mundo, you don't require. And that's also part of the support. Even if I was scared at the start, that's part of the support. I think Papa and I discussed it. It was just like attending all your competitions, your
Yeah.
performances. We also had to give you some parameters.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so once again, just want to recap that it's a balance.
Yeah, it should be a balance.
It should be a balance of allowing them to discover their own passions. Because if I didn't have dancing, I wouldn't be,
as lively as
I wouldn't be
Anton
doing what
as
I
you
do
are.
now. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't host.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go to radio. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be podcasting if wala ka masyadong performing
What a
experience.
big loss. Okay, let's remind them, there are really a lot of advantages from allowing our children to do extracurricular activities. One of them is it opens doors to discover their other interests, strengths, and purpose.
Okay, another one, it helps build work relationship skills because in the classroom, yeah, you have group works nga, but then getting high grades is more of like an individual endeavor. But in these extracurricular activities, there are team sports where you really have to learn how to deal with different characters, different personalities, and achieve a goal together.
And that's really like the real world. As a matter of fact, a lot of the great CEOs today were good athletes. Diba? So parents, that again, even if they didn't graduate with loudest, they would still make good CEOs because of the training they had. Also, it teaches them time management.
That's
Diba?
right. I just want to add something. Like, just because you put them in, let's say, a specific sport, basketball, you don't really have to put them in basketball with the hope that they're gonna make it in the PBA or they're gonna make it professionally. It's not just the sport itself, the sport mismo. It's the discipline it teaches and everything around doing the sport is what's really important.
Yes. So really, it looks good on resume. When we're looking at candidates these days, we just don't look at the grades, the transcript of grades. We look at what they did when they were in school. Kasi as we mentioned earlier, it's really, sports is really, especially team sports, is really like the real world, no? And of course, extracurricular activities. It's really food for the soul, di ba? Yung ano talaga the commitment that I saw you put in, it really enhanced your character. It was something that you really loved, and we allowed you to pursue it, and it really formed your character. It honed your time management, perseverance, etc. So, what else, di ba?
Yeah.
You really have to allow your children to get into extracurricular activities. And again, I say, it's not that easy because we are always just given the feedback on academic grades,
That's it.
not on the extracurricular activities, but it's important.
Yeah, we still have to play by the rules and we still have to do our job. We still have to perform well in the classroom before we get to perform well in other things outside the classroom.
Okay, so I think that's something that our parents and children out there will have to remember the next time you get into an argument again with your mom na, hindi ka na nag-aaral, puno ka na lang basketball or what have you. Mom, it's food for the soul.
Okay, so that's it. That's all time we have for our third episode. Thank you once again for listening to the Mom and Son podcast. We'll see you again next week.
Yes, once again, this is Rose Fres Fausto, the mom,
and Anton Fausto, the son. Bye! Mom and Son podcast airs every Tuesday at 7 a.m. or anytime at your convenience through Spotify, Buzzsprout, SoundCloud, and now Apple iTunes. Have your weekly dose of mother and son takes on family, finance, passions, and everything in between.